Hello, and welcome to Now You See Me, the show where we redefine beauty from the inside out. My name is Jeannette Jones, and I am your host and the producer of the show. It is my indeed pleasure to welcome Miss Summaluv Townsley to the show today. Welcome, Summaluv.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you and good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning. It is so awesome to see just how many women out there are just thriving and just embracing who they are. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became just beautifully bald?
Oh, thank you so much. Well, and again, good morning, everyone. Say, I'm Cassandra Townsley. However, I am lovingly called Summer Love. And so back in 2009, when I had locks. I had grown locks for 10 years. After I had my son, I decided to lock my hair when he was a year old. So by the time he was, but about 10 years later, he was 11.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, I'm doing my hair, and this was in 2009, the same day that Michael Jackson died. I'm supposed to be redoing, retwisting my locks.
Mm-hmm.
And as I looked through the whole front of my hairline, the locks was just hanging on threads, on strings. And normally if a lock loosen up, there's things that we can do to kind of retwist and reconnect, and it, kind of mends together and it grows back out. But however, the way this hits the feely just started hanging, and there was no explanation other than stress, and I'll get into that later on. I knew it was no way to reconnect, save, and it was devastating for me. It was devastating for me because I knew at that moment I had to shave my whole head. I had to cut all my locks, and my locks was down to my calves. I really took pride in my hair, took pride in my locks. I, really loved it. And prior to locks, I did the relaxers, perms, just what everyone else do, but just the instant just seemed like it was just an overnight thing that they were gone. So I had to shave my head, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know how to explain it. All I know is years prior to that, I lost my mother to cancer, and she lost her hair. They never gave it a name. They never told her. It just said she lost her hair to, from the chemotherapy and from the cancer. But it wasn't until after I learned about my condition and that they called it alopecia. When I did the research, I realized my mother, that's what she was, affected by, was the alopecia. Some cases it's hereditary, but in this case, it's not that it was hereditary, it was stress, because hers was cancer. Thank God, so far, no cancer. Not so far, thank God, no cancer. Let's say it that way. We don't want to say so far because cancer is a big deal.
Yes, what we say.
Yes, I lost my hair in 2009, same day that Michael Jackson died to cancer. I mean, not cancer, take that, I apologize, to alopecia. And once I learned what it was, because I took so long having it diagnosed, the front of my hairline has closed, and the hair will not grow back. And never seeing myself as a vain person, it was the day I had to shave my head, I realized that yes, I am vain, because I'd rather shave all my head than walk around with a receding hairline. Because it literally starts, you'll see it like when the hairs grow back, but it starts like almost center of my head, and everywhere else it will grow, but that it won't. And it was a difficult journey and a devastating experience. We have stigmas that, and women are pressured about their hair.
Yes.
We shouldn't cut our hair. Our hair is our crown and our glory. Our hair is our beauty. That's what makes us beautiful, and the precious. And we're really hit hard with that. And so learning to live and accept myself as a shaved woman, it took steps. It took
Yeah.
steps. It took some years, but in 2018, after trying to camouflage makeshift mohawks, wigs, whatever, just to camouflage the alopecia, you know, in 2018, I just decided, listen, I'm old. I shaved my head, and I said they're going to accept me or they're not going to accept
Yeah.
me. I'm too old to stress or worry about it, and I moved forward, and I decided to own it.
Oh, wow. I know when we are dealing with these types of things and we don't really quite know what to do, at least I didn't quite know what to do. I when got all the over the counter products and tried to use this remedy and that remedy, and then I went to the doctor. Okay, maybe they can give me something that's going to stop this particular process, but it just became a big blob of messy creams and things of that nature. What type of medical treatment did you pursue or was given to you to?
Oh, and that's so funny that you should ask that question because yes, I've tried almost everything on the market that swore my hair was going to grow back.
Mm,
Tried everything. And when I finally went to the doctor and had it diagnosed about 3, 4 years after, so first they started me on this product, Rogaine.
mm,
Rogaine, which the generic form is minoxidil. And so I would take this. It's in a liquid form, and I'm
mm,
rubbing it on the front of my hairline, and I'm very careful rubbing it on the front of my hairline, you know. But the only place that I grew hair, I grew a light mustache, I grew a light beard, sideburns, and I even grew hair on my earlobes. I'm like, okay, there is something that is not right about this. So I stopped using the product, and I went back to the doctor, and I looked at it and said, okay,
mm.
I've been using it. I said, there's no hair growing on my hairline. It's only growing on my earlobe. She looked at me with this very blank look on her face and very nonchalantly, she says, oh, that's one of the side effects. Oh,
Mhm.
really? Could we have had this discussion prior to me? I mean, I'm sorry. Oh, like, earlobe, that's what really got me.
Oh my
And then
goodness.
she said, well, we can also try steroid treatment.
Mm, mm. Yeah.
So I was kind of open to it, even though
Mm.
from what I've heard and learned that steroids put weight on you. And at the time, I was at 5'2", I was 250 pounds, and I'm like, I didn't need any more weight put on me, but I was willing to do almost anything
Right,
until she
right.
told me that the steroid treatments was injections.
Mm.
Injections in my head? Are you kidding me? I feel like when I already have technical difficulties in my head, I didn't need
Mm.
anyone shooting anything. You will not shoot anything into my head. Are you kidding me? And so, and then if everyone that knows me, they know. So I told my doctor, my PCP, I said, listen,
Mm.
you need to stamp my chart punk because everyone knows I'm afraid of needles. So now I'm laying on the table and she's trying to convince me that the steroid treatment is these injections is really going to work and they're not going to hurt. It's painless. I'm like, yeah, you're not going to feel it. It's going in my head. She's like, oh, you're funny. So now I'm laying there. She's getting everything together and the tears fell from my eyes.
Oh.
The tears fell from my eyes. I cried. I'm like, she said, Sergeant, what's wrong with you? I said, I don't want to do this. She said, girl, get up. You have to go. Thank you. So, me, my option,
Mm.
I prefer to stay bald and shaved. If that's the
Yes.
only way you're going to get my hair to grow back, then this is what we're going to have to do.
Yeah. I did the needles for the first time this summer. I did 2 injections and that is not the answer. So you knew a long time ago that was not the answer for you also. But in
Oh,
2018 you said that you had your epiphany and you were kind of done. My done was like really a few months ago. So
really?
when you say the done, you're fine with it. But you also
Oh,
have to deal with you weren't fine
You know, so when I lost my mother to breast cancer, I became angry with God. And at the time, I was a smoker. So when people would say to me, you just lost your mother to cancer, why are you smoking? I'm like, my mother never smoked, never drank, never did any drugs, never did anything. We lost her to cancer. I really didn't care. I became so angry. I eventually stopped, but at the time, I was so angry. So once again, when God took my hair away from me, I was angry because why? That was my pride. That was my glory. That was my joy. But in 2018, when I just decided, you know what, later for it, I'm going to give it up. People have to accept me for who I am. From the very first time I started posting pictures on my social media,
that's huge,
to walking out in the street as a shaved woman, it was different because that's when I realized God knew what he was doing. He knew that I would be a tool and a vessel. And I would definitely, I feel like I was the chosen one to really help to get so many of us through, because in 2009, it was not as common. It's more common now, and more women, men, and children every day are being affected by alopecia. There's no education out here. There was no one talking about it. It wasn't until Will slapped Chris, until the world started talking about alopecia. And but up until that point, I was openly talking about alopecia as much as I can to try to educate the people, because they haven't really identified one thing that causes alopecia. From hereditary to health issues, compromised health issues. There's so many different reasons why stress, which mine was as a result of stress, why people, why, we end up losing our hair. And it's an attack on our system that causes our bodies to, just shut down that growth process. And people would walk up to me. And they would, in 2018, when I first went shaved, and women and men alike would just come up to me and one say, "Miss, you're absolutely beautiful." And me, I've always had a very low self-esteem. I had a very low self-esteem. And it was a nice thing to hear. And it would say, "Thank you." Sometimes I had even experienced women and men to literally shed tears or even just break down and cry and share with me, this is what I'm going through. Thank you for being so bold and so brave. And you give us hope. I'm not ready to do it. And I tell them it's a bold walk, but I feel that God knew that I would be able to comfort, so many that's going through. And I do the best I can. One of my favorite hashtags is I aspire to inspire. And I do believe I have inspired so many. And I'm really, and I'm watching the support groups on social media as they're popping up every day with different support groups for women, men, and children with alopecia. The very first time I shaved in 2009, I took a picture. So I have that picture, and I literally have it blown up. I have pictures on hand, and when I meet children with alopecia, I autograph it, the bald diva. And I gift it to children, because they have to go to school, and bullying in school, workplace, everywhere you go, it's interesting. They stare at us. They treat us like we're different, like we're something wrong. It's not contagious, okay? It could be almost anything else, but contagious it's not.
It is not.
Right. So the level of sensitivity with some people, I understand why so many people are so, still find it uncomfortable, and they're not ready to shave, go bald, to own it, because the ridicule and the comments. Like, I've even had a few people that looked at me and said, when I first had to shave, instead of asking, is everything okay? I had people that literally asked me, why did you do that to your head? Okay, so see me. So one thing I don't worry about is bullying. They never worry about me being bullied because trust me, I handle all of it. So my reply was always, because I'm grown, it's my head and I felt like it. Do you have a problem with it? And they always became defensive.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't mean anything by it. Yes, you did.
Yes,
And
you
you
did.
have to be sensitive. What if I had a life-threatening illness, the reason why I have my alopecia?
Right.
It's called alopecia. And what if it was a life-threatening issue? You could have devastated me. So I always leave them walking away with something to think about. I had children try to bully me.
Children?
Yes, they don't understand who I am. Hey, look,
Clearly.
one of my favorites, but I don't do disrespect, and no, I'm not easily bullied.
Okay.
But I just know, I believe that now, because I'm no longer angry, it's now that I've accepted it, and I own it. I know that it's not, that I was being punished. I believe that I was just a vessel that was being used, for God's people, because, it can be devastating and it hurts. And especially when you get people staring at you like you're strange.
Like you're strange. I know you were talking about the sensitivity of people and strangers, but what about the reactions from your own family? Can you share a little bit about that with us?
Oh my goodness. So what surprised me, and that was the most important thing. So my dad, who's 86 years old, my dad is an 86-year-old pastor. And I was concerned about how he was going to feel about his daughter being shaved. I had not talked to him about it. He always saw me in a wig. So when he first saw me shaved, my dad looked, he smiled, and he said, Sandy, that's what my family lovingly called me. He said, Sandy, he said, you really look good. He said, I have to say you look good. And that made me feel good to hear that from my dad. But then, of course, he wanted to know if everything was okay because, like I said, lost my mom to breast cancer. And I said, Daddy, health-wise, I'm fine. It was just a stress. It's called alopecia. I gave him an education, little crash course on it, and we was fine. But I did have a family member who told me, very mean about it, right now, I'm living my truth. And I am very honest and open to everybody. And I just want you to know that I think you look like a freak. All people with, yes, I had a family, an immediate family member call me up to personally tell me this. What? I said, that's fine. See, and I shot a kind of little shot at her. I didn't let her get away with it, but I'm gonna behave myself. But for the most part, overall, my family supported me. My son was funny because when I first lost my hair, he was only 11. He was young, and this was really brand new to him. So he looked at me. He said, "Mom, why did you have to do that to your head?" So I tried to explain to him, I really don't know what's happening because I didn't know anything about allergies at the time. And I didn't know what was happening, but my hair was starting to fall out, so I had to cut it all off. He said, "Can you do me a favor?" I said, "What's that?" He said, "When you come to my school, can you please just make sure you're wearing hair or a cap or something? Do not come to my school looking like that." I said, "Okay, Malachi." I said, "That depends." He says, "On what?" I said, "Well, if I get a good report, I'll have on some of my long, beautiful wigs, or I'll have on a beautiful baseball cap." I said, "But if I get a bad report," and I was wearing a cap that day, I flipped the cap off. I said, "This is how I'm coming to your school." He said, "Daddy, please tell mommy not to do that. As a matter of fact, you come instead." I laughed hysterically, but it's an adjustment. My son is 23 years old now. He's, and of course, with the education and
Yeah.
totally making sure he understood what was happening. Right now, he is so proud of me. And
Oh.
anytime, he wants to just say, I love you or thank you, he'll come in, he'll kiss me on top of my
Oh, that's cute. That is so cute.
head. I love you. Sis, I love you too. So, it's a matter of just, accepting, pretty much education. We have to educate the people. And that's why, again, I aspire to inspire. And, I share openly.
Yes.
I still wear wigs, occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm old. I'm 60 years old. So we've been going through the change for more than 12
Beautiful.
years.
Oh my goodness.
I
Give
was
me some
sitting
of
in
those
church one,
products, girl.
oh my God. I was sitting in church one Sunday,
Uh-huh.
and it was in the wintertime.
Right.
But menopause has no respect of person,
It
place,
does
or
not.
thing.
It's
And I'm sitting in
disrespectful.
church one Sunday, I had on this beautiful wig, I'm dressed nice, the makeup, and all of a sudden the sweat is rolling down my face from under the wig. So one of my friends was sitting behind me, and she pulls out a paper towel and she starts dabbing my face. And I got my head down. I'm like, thank you. She said, do you want me to take it off? I said, yes, please. And she slipped my wig off and she dabbed my head and fanned me a little bit. And once I was okay, I continued to praise her.
Oh my goodness. Awesome. I think that is awesome. That's an awesome story. I love that. I love that. You just had just the support on all sides that day.
I'm too old to be shy nor
Yes.
ashamed. Listen, when I was young, I tell everyone, I was all hair, no belly. Life, you change. Things change. You lose things in that life. So
Yes.
now I done lost my figure. I'm all belly, no hair. I accept me. I approve of me. I love me. And I don't worry about me. Okay, I'm good.
Awesome. Yes.
The stress that I went through, like
Mm-hmm.
I tell everyone, because stress is your number one killer. And it triggers just about
Yeah.
any and everything,
Trust
diabetes,
me, I
cancer,
know.
heart attack. Exactly.
I know.
So I thank God every day. The stress that I had undergone at the time,
Mm-hmm.
it gave my hair and not my health.
Yes. Yes. Wow.
Okay, I'm fine. I'm
Yeah.
good.
So if you had to leave someone with the biggest insight, the biggest epiphany from this entire ordeal, if what would you say to that person who's still back there and they're putting on the wigs, which is nothing. There's nothing wrong with wigs. There's nothing wrong with weaves. There's nothing wrong with braids. It's a cultural thing. Some of the things that are going on now, I wish I could get my little flips going, but
Girl, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
beautiful hairstyles. But what would you leave that person that is afraid to take it off? What would you say to them right now at this moment?
I have taken the time to reintroduce myself to me. One, you
Mhm.
have to love yourself.
Yeah.
Love yourself. And just know you are not your hair. Own it. The day I decided to own it, love me, and accept me for who I am, I was so much happier. The stress of everything, the release of everything, the fact
Yeah.
that I can walk out my
Mhm.
house, whether I am, so I have more options. Give yourself options. Open up.
Awesome.
It's amazing. I think you're absolutely beautiful. You're
Mm,
absolutely beautiful. And once you accept yourself for who you are and just realize you can remove the hair,
mhm.
you don't have to hide. It
Yes.
is a process, though. It is a process. You have prayer,
Yes.
working within your own self. You
Mhm.
know, I used to always say, My head's too big. I can't go out there. It's too- Honey, that's who I am. I'm my daddy's child. And he has a big head, so do I. Okay. But I've owned it. This is
Yes.
who I am. This is what has come, of my life. I enjoy, like I said, I enjoyed hair. And now when I share stories with my son,
Mm-hmm.
my inherited children, because well, even though I'm divorced, that was a part of my stress when I lost my hair. However, my son is my only child, but I have to tell everyone I have 13 children, 39 grandchildren, and 14 great
Oh,
grandchildren.
really?
Even
Okay.
though I'm divorced, um, my ex-husband, I lovingly call him my husband. We have a wonderful relationship.
Your
We get along
husband.
better as friends. Yeah, my husband. That's my husband, and the children and the grandchildren. I still get along with everybody, but they're very supportive. They are very supportive. It was a shock to them when I first
Mm-hmm.
had to shave.
Mm-hmm.
Like Boo Boo is what they lovingly call me, Boo Boo. But take my time, like I said, just to reintroduce myself to me, accept me for who I am. And of course, I co-authored my first book, and which the name of the book is My Bald is Beautiful, I Am Not My Hair. And
Awesome.
you're all beautiful. Yes, I'm an author. And my chapter reads, Now You Can See My Face.
Wow.
Let
I
me
think I have that. Let me see if I can put it up for everybody. I think that the whole thing is wonderful. There you go. There you go. Look
There's
at
me.
you. Look at you. That is beautiful. And so, if everybody, you can just kind of get in contact with Summer Love on Facebook. The group is Summer Love Sassy Seasoned Models. IG is Hair for Summer Love.
Yes.
And you can find it on TikTok as well. Is the book out? Summer Love.
The
Let me just.
book is out. Okay, the book went on sale December 6th,
Mm-hmm.
right between two major car accidents I had. I was rear-ended both times. So I missed my book signing, and I missed my interview. However, it's on sale. Here's the cover. Excuse the ring light glare, but
Got
my
you.
bald is
Got you.
beautiful. I am not my hair. And my
Oh,
chapter starts on page 105. Now you
mm-hmm.
can see my face. Like I said, it's been a wonderful experience and journey. And hair
That's
did not
right.
stop me from hitting that runway. Hair did not stop me from starting a business. Hair did not stop me from authoring or co-authoring my first book, and I'm working on another project. You can do anything that you want to do. Oh, and I'm so sorry.
Thank you. No, you're fine. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us today. It has been my pleasure. And
Thank you so
we're gonna
much.
go ahead and I'm gonna put that overlay back up. So, and you make sure you all reach out to Summer Love and get involved in some of these fabulous things that she's involved in. So, again, thank you so much for coming. Thank you all for tuning in. My name is Jeannette Jones, and you have just seen another episode of Now You See Me. Bye bye.
Thank you for having me.